Welcome back to 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. As always, I'm your host, John J. Ransom Futrell. I'm not even allowed to remember what number episode this is. How unprepared is that? It's like, no, I'm just playing. So, originally I wasn't going to do an episode this week. I got a lot of things going on, a lot of projects, but I felt it was necessary based on my own experiences this last week and things I've seen. So the topics for this episode is actually your personal brand versus the brand of your persona, specifically for artists and for everyone in general. Why do people you know do not support your work? So let's get into it. Your personal brand versus the brand of your persona. For those that don't really get it, your personal brand is you as a person, who you are, especially if you're an artist or you own a company or things of that nature. You're trying to be in the spotlight, or you're kind of in the spotlight to a certain extent. Your personal brand is how you carry yourself, your character, how you're projected to other people, how people know you personally, or what they know about your personal life. That's your personal brand. The brand of your persona is based on, say, for instance, me. I am Jay Ransom. That's my brand. That brand is completely separate from my personal brand. You get what I'm saying? Jay Ransom is the artist, the creator, and although those things are very true to my heart, and that's what I love to do, and that's what I feel makes me who I am, but who Jay Ransom is completely different. Why? Because I understand that Jay Ransom has to represent a different thing. I can't put out my personal life like that. Although I do in some of my art, but I don't fully go into it. I keep it to a minimum. An example of that is when I started changing my actual social networking accounts, or one in particular. We'll talk about my Instagram, and I had a lot of people messaging me or commenting on my post. Oh, why are you changing this, that, and the third? And it's like, there has to be an understanding. My personal brand may feel very strong about certain issues and certain topics and subject matters, but also my personal brand understands it has to be about action. I have to do something other than talk about the shit on social media, or therefore it makes no sense. So I had to transform my Instagram into being more about my brand, being more about my art, being more about what it is that I'm doing. It's not necessarily that I don't express my personal feelings sometimes. It's just that I understand there's a time and place for that. And really, if I'm really trying to grow my business, or me as an artist or whatever, or my brand, I can't be about that all the time, because everybody's not going to agree with what I feel or I see. Hell, a lot of people aren't going to like my art. A lot of people are going to love my art. Some people are going to hate it. You know what I mean? That's part of the game. That's how it goes. But my personal feelings have to be separate from that. I was criticized over this weekend. I found kind of not so funny at the time, because I have a very short fuse, and it doesn't take much for me to get angry about something, even if it's something petty and trivial. So I had this particular person. I'm not going to say any names. I'm not even going to say an Instagram name. I happened to be on Snapchat, and they happened to say something. I tried to throw a shot at me, because when I write quotes, I put my picture, like my profile picture that's on all my social media accounts, in the background of my quotes. And I'm like, my first reaction is, why the fuck do you care? And they proceeded to call me narcissistic and all these other things. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But, everybody doesn't use social media for the same things. My profile picture, whatever I use, which is a recommendation for any of you, whatever your logo, whatever it is that you use that represents your brand, use that with whatever that you're posting or whatever, because that's what you want to put out there, that's what you're trying to present. But that's what came about this actual episode, or this part of the episode, I should say, because a lot of people get it twisted just because of whatever they do on social media, because they go work a regular 9 to 5, they automatically assume that you're the same way as them, or it's more about their ego and whatever insecurities they have within themselves, or whatever. The point is that like you should net like, and this is for you also, as far as when you see a celebrity's page or whoever, don't ever get it twisted or think that somebody's brand represents their personal brand or whatever persona it is that you're seeing. That's not who they are in the everyday. That's not, everything that really goes on in their heads. Like, some people use social media as a means of venting or to let out frustration on the world or this, that, and the third, or even try to make a change or things like, you know what I mean? Everybody uses it for different reasons. So don't get the shit twisted with somebody that uses it for business or somebody uses it for personal fucking interactions or just personal reasons. So, like I said, that shit kind of pissed me off, which was definitely my ego. Because, or you start going into the victim mode of who the hell does this person think they are? And it's just like, fuck them. Like, whatever. Like, fuck them. You know what I mean? You got to really understand, what you're dealing with. Especially in a world that's so oversaturated with bullshit and with people that feel like doing a little research, they know things. You're going to get people that are automatically going to assume things, not understand, it's part of the game, man. But before kind of moving on from this aspect, what I also want to say about that is be very careful. Be very careful with your personal brand, because your personal brand can harm your actual persona. It doesn't take much. Like, it really doesn't. Especially in a world that, has become more about relationships than it has become about skills, and that's just my opinion. I think relationships are probably 10 times more important than skill at this time and period. And if you have skills and if you don't have the relationships, you got to have the money. So, moving on from that, let's move on into why people do not support you. Because I think there's a huge misconception that, and I think a lot of people have egos where, it's almost like there's a couple things that come up. It's either, is my work not good enough, or it's a thing of, or the people that's not supporting a lot of times are haters, to be honest with you. And that's not to blow your head up or to, massage your ego. But the reality is that, it's not necessarily that people that know you don't really support you. It's that they don't see you in the light that you see yourself, or that people that don't know you see you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality of it. It's, it's that same mentality of people that know you. They always want something for free because they don't understand how hard you worked for it. They don't see you in that light, but they'll go and support some big name artist. It's that same type of mentality. So the reality of it is number one, get your ego checked, and number two, keep it moving. You know what I mean? Because a stranger is going to see more in you than somebody that knows you. Because somebody that knows you already has some type of image of you or some type of belief of who you are and what you represent. Like, for a long time, I took it as extreme disrespect. When I first started making music, people would try to call my music just poetry. And it's like, have you ever even listened to what the fuck I'm putting out? Have you ever listened to what's going on? You know what I mean? And that was and that was prior to me understanding, going back to what I was talking about before, personal brand versus your persona. Like, a lot of people will try to box you into whatever vision they have for you, whatever they think you are, because they can't see it, or they don't understand it, or they have something within themselves that they can't see. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is that your goals are, they can't see themselves pursuing it, so they don't look at you in that type of way. Like, a lot of shit has to do with ego, man. I mean, that's the reality of it. A lot of shit's ego. This whole world was based on fucking ego. That's just the reality of it. It's been designed that way. You know what I mean? It keeps people trapped. It keeps people from succeeding. It keeps people from living their dreams. And all of these things I'm talking about, even though, it's really like two subject matters within one, have to do with living your dreams. Because when you're living your dreams, you got to really understand. You got to really understand what you want to do, and you have to actually plan what you want to do, and you have to be methodical about it. You have to understand what it is you're trying to do. And I don't mean immediately, but at least have some type of long-term goals as well as short-term goals. Have daily goals. Do whatever it is you need to do to live your dream. But don't allow these people to fuck with you and to stop you from doing what you need to do and what it is you feel you're supposed to be doing. Because I'll tell you, I've been through it. I know what it feels like not to get support from people close to you. Hell, I still deal with it. I still deal with it to this day. And, it is what it is. I'm at the point where I can move forward. And it's about me. It's about my brand. It's about what I'm trying to do. Fuck everybody else. That's the reality of it. That's the mentality that you honestly got to have as far as those people not supporting you. Those people supporting you always show love, always feel grateful, stay blessed, and, always stay appreciative. Because by doing that, you allow positive energy to come to you, and you allow things that will put you in a better place to come to you. And the last thing I want to talk about for this episode before keeping it moving, because I got work to do. Money. Like I said earlier, if you don't have the relationships, you have to have the money. Period. And I don't mean buying your way in, because a lot of people don't understand. I'll give a perfect example. There's a difference between going to a DJ and them liking your record and they decide to play it on the radio and you paying for it. 90% of people are paying for the records to be on the radio. Companies are paying for records to be on the radio. It's called payola. It's no secret. We all know it exists. Not on every station, but on a lot of mainstream stations. That's how it is. Don't get it twisted. There are people that have good relationships. There are people that have good records. But for the most part, a lot of people are paying to get this shit on. But the reality is, in this day and age, why not? Why not pay for it? You got to pay for everything else in this world. You got to pay, if you're a musician, you got to pay to get your record mixed. You got to pay to get it mastered. Especially if you want that quality sound. You got to pay for all that. You got to pay to promote it. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people miss these parts of the game. They miss these steps and they don't understand, that's how it really is. Unless you have some type of relationship with somebody that can do these things for you. That's the only way it's going to happen. I'm sorry. That's the reality of it. That's the only way it's going to happen. Either relationships or money. And you're really, really fortunate, and you're one of the lucky ones if your skills are so good, or what you do, you're so good at it that you bring these things to you. But we all have the power to do that. But most people nowadays take the short way out. Everything's about the quick money, releasing music as fast as possible, doing things as fast as possible. People don't think about longevity anymore. And to me, that's a huge issue with this society. A huge issue with, all industries nowadays. Everything is so quick. And to me, that's harmful. So, with that being said, build relationships or get your money up. But never, ever, ever forget about your skills. Never forget about your skills. Never forget about your brand. Never forget about your personal brand. And fuck those who don't believe in you. Especially those who know you that don't support you. Period. Anyway, I'll holler back at y'all probably next week or something. Peace and love as always. John J. Ransom Futrell, 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. I'll holler back. Peace. 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. 9 a.m. to 5 a.m.